The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.
Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the City of Neenah Common Council meeting for Wednesday, May 21st, 2025. The clerk will call the roll. Please indicate your presence on your roll call device as well.
Alderman Bruno. Erickson.
Here.
Linsky.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
Steiner.
Here.
Paulnow.
Here.
Lund.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
And Council President Borchard is excused.
We have a couple of people missing tonight because it is Neenah High School graduation night. So if you're wondering where those couple of people are, that's where they are. I'd like to ask Alderman Paulnow to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on the agenda is introduction and confirmation of mayor's appointments. There are no appointments this evening. The next item is approval of the council minutes and proceedings of May 7th. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the passage of those minutes and proceedings? Seeing none, those minutes and proceedings are approved. The next item is a public hearing considering ordinance number 2025-04, amending Chapter 26 of the Code of Ordinances relating to residential development standards and permitted uses in commercial districts. I would open that public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak regarding that public hearing item? Is there anyone here who would like to speak? Is there anyone here who would like to speak in the public hearing? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and move on to the Plan Commission report pertaining to that public hearing. Alderman Steiner.
Thank you, Mayor. This is in regards to the meeting that was held on May 13th, 2025. Minutes can be found on the city website. Commission recommends council approve ordinance number 2025-04, amending Chapter 26 of the Code of Ordinances relating to residential development standards and permitted uses in commercial districts, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Paulnow. Is there any discussion on this? Alderman Lundrum.
Can't reach my microphone. Couldn't reach my microphone. Could we get Deputy Director Schmidt up? And I think a lot of people would like to know just a quick summary on, I think especially the residential changes.
Sure. So these are three changes that were recommended as part of the housing study. We've had some discussions with our Plan Commission and decided to move these three forward. So basically, the first one is to eliminate the minimum dwelling width standard. That is currently at 20 feet. We haven't really had any issues or concerns about it, but I didn't really understand the rationale behind it and why it was originally put in, so that was removed. Secondly, in the R2 district, which primarily includes lots that are substandard in width around our downtown, on Doty Island and some other places, for any lots that's less than 60 feet, we've had issues with property owners being able to place a house or add or really utilize the lot. So in looking at the setback standards, we felt that the current standards, which required a side yard setback of 6 feet and 10 feet on either side, was a little too much, and actually resulted currently in 2 variance requests over the last year. So for any lots less than 60 feet, they could have a 6-foot setback on both sides. So basically reducing that setback by 4 feet. And then finally, in commercial districts, over the years, we've had property owners who've been trying to refinance or sell a house, and using FHA or federal loans to refinance or buy a house. And if the property's in a commercial district, it's considered non-conforming. So this is allowing those uses to be permitted in those districts, which we feel will help, especially with the lending side of things. So those were the three changes.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device.
Mine doesn't work. Oh. There we go. Thank you.
That motion passes 8-0.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. The next item on the agenda is the public forum. Is there anyone here who would like to speak during the public forum? Is there anyone here who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I will close the public forum. Moving on to item number 8. The consent agenda. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the items on the consent agenda? Those items are A, the preliminary plat for Courtside Field subdivision located at 600 Elm Street and 720 Elm Street, subject to the conditions on the preliminary plat review letter. B is the final plat for the second addition to Freedom Acres subdivision located west of Liberty Avenue and Founders Street. Item C is temporary extension of licensed premises application to Lion's Tail Brewing Company for Smoke on the Fox. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of those 3 items? Seeing no objection, those items are approved. The next item on the agenda is reports of standing committees, Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of April 29th. Chairman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. This one was inadvertently left off the last agenda, so we're going to deal with this one tonight. So reporting out from Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of April 29th, 2025. Item number 1, the only item on this one, committee recommends entering into a professional service agreement with Grafe USA to perform a condition survey of the Church Street parking ramp at a cost not to exceed $12,000 to be funded by Capital Facilities Program. I would so move, and I'll have a little description after we get a second.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Discussion on this item. Alderman Lundrum.
Yes, thank you. I just want to, it's real quick. I just wanted to read this memo about it. It's $12,000, but I'll just read this. A request for proposal to prepare a condition survey for the 20-year-old Church Street ramp was distributed to 5 firms. The objective of the work is to identify areas for repair, develop an estimate of probable cost for those repairs, and identify areas for further investigation or observation. And I think that's it for that explanation.
Is there any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
All right, so getting back on track and reporting out from the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of May 13th, and the minutes can be found on the city website. 2 items tonight. Item number 1, committee recommends council authorize the city to enter into a professional services agreement with MSA Professional Services Incorporated for the preparation of a roundabout feasibility analysis for the intersection of Nicolay Boulevard and Commercial Street, not to exceed $13,560. I would so move.
So motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Ellis. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you. This is just a feasibility analysis on this one, and this is that intersection that is kind of a complicated one, Nicolay, Commercial, and First Street. It's almost, some people call it 5 corners with the 2 churches there and the Thunder Bay Car Wash. So that's what this is.
Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a question on this. Didn't we vote on this already? I remember that the feasibility study was already presented. I
think that was the lights. I think that was the intersection lights. And there's a camera going up there too. I think that's what that was.
I think that's correct.
Because I thought this was something that we were doing it with in a partnership with Menasha.
We are.
The lights were the partnership.
I can't remember.
I don't know if we had gotten to the point of the approval of the professional services agreement, but we had discussed it in the past.
Okay. Well, that maybe is the case.
Okay. Alderman Paulno?
I think, if I remember correctly, we had voted to authorize to move forward with the concept to go out to bid.
Yes.
Not the actual, this is the actual
Correct.
bid.
Yep. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
And the second and last, item number 2, committee recommends council authorize staff to enter into a professional services agreement for design and permitting of the Courtside Fields Pond with Davil Engineering and Environmental, Inc. in the amount of $17,650, subject to a letter of intent between the city and the property owner, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Paulno.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's just important to acknowledge that typically we don't do this with stormwater ponds, but Director Kaiser feels that this is an opportunity that is kind of an anomaly, but that's very good for long-term eradication of stormwater, I&I and all kinds of other things for a larger pond. So I think it's a good thing.
That's correct. Alderman Lundrum.
I just wanted to say that this is for the retention pond at the Shattuck School property. It's just design and permitting at this point.
Further discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you for your report. The regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of May 12th. Chairman Steiner.
Thank you, Mayor. Minutes can be found on the city website. The first item will be taken care of under the Board of Public Works. Moving to the second item, committee recommends council approve the transition of human resources recruitment and retention coordinator from part-time to full-time effective July 1, 2025, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Ellis. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
Item number 3, committee recommends council approve ordinance number 2025-03, repealing transportation assessment replacement fee, TARF, and replacing with municipal vehicle registration fee wheel tax, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Ellis. Discussion on this item. Alderman Steiner.
Just to do a quick clarification, there's no change from what we voted on previously. This is really just administrative, just to make it official. So there's not any kind of alteration from what we did in the previous council session.
Alderman Polno.
Thank you. Yes, I'll be voting, as I said before, I'll be voting against this. I think this is a regressive way to collect revenue, and I don't think long-term it'll be viable because I feel that this will be attacked when we get a change in the state house as far as I've seen other locales, because this is regressive. It's more impactful for a low-income person than it is commercial or industrial who will never be, they won't be paying for the road construction under this path, and I don't think it's fair to the overall constituents that only certain people are paying this fee when people that are probably doing the most damage with large trucks and industrial won't have to contribute anything to the road construction. So I'll be voting against this. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on this item? Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. I disagree on the larger trucks not paying their dues for our streets. They have other ways that they are taxed and have fees. And we do get a chunk of money from the state every year for transportation issues. So it's not like they are not paying their fair share. They are. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-1.
Item number 4, committee recommends council approve resolution for Associated Bank trust agreement allowing Director Rasmussen an authorized signatory on the Associated Bank accounts, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Bruno. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
Number 5, committee recommends council approve the police local aid union tentative agreement 2025 through 2027, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Bruno. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. The next item was the Plan Commission meeting. That's action being taken under public hearings. So moving on to the Board of Public Works meeting of May 8th, Vice Chairman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from the Board of Public Works meeting, May 8th, 2025. Minutes can be found on the city website. Item number 1, the board recommends council award contract 4-25 concrete pavement and sidewalk repairs to Aldex Concrete Kaukauna in the amount of $246,100, and I would so move.
So motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Linsky. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing no discussion, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
All right, want me to keep going?
Yes, the
All right.
next Board of Public
All
Works
right,
meeting.
reporting out from the Board of Public Works meeting of May 15th, 2025. Again, minutes can be found on the city website. Only one item. The board recommends council approve the second addition to Freedom Acres subdivision development and fee agreement, and I would so move.
So motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Ellis. Alderman Lundrum?
Thank you. Could I have Director Schmidt come up and explain this one, just because it's interesting and a real success story?
Thank you. So the second edition of Freedom Acres is the last and final phase of the Freedom Acres and Homes at Freedom Meadows subdivision. This is, I think there's been 6 phases. This particular phase is 26 residential lots. So this is the development where the city had partnered with this developer. So overall, it's been very successful. It's when we originally signed the development agreement in 2010 to work, or 2020 to work with him, it was intended to be a 10-year time period, and it's basically ended in 5 years. So very successful and really good partnership.
So seems very, very creative in terms of financing. Can you just explain a little bit how the city worked with the developer in terms of financing?
Yeah, so the developer acquired the 130 acres of land in 2020, and I think the concern at the time was, the holding costs that he had on the property, and actually was contemplating development in the town, which would have been really bad for the city. So the city actually purchased the land from him for what he paid for it, and then sold it back in phases with a small premium on that. So I forget the final accounting of how much we paid for it versus how much we got back, but I think it was around 800 we paid for it and got back a little over $1 million.
So it certainly covered all of our administrative costs.
Yes.
So that was very unusual. I've never heard of that before, that type of financing. Is this common?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, me either. Thank you.
An additional piece of that project was the fact that last year, correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, but I think there were 80 housing starts in that neighborhood, which our typical number of housing starts is 40. So it was really a phenomenal project. Is there any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you for your report. Next item is the Business Improvement District Board. Alderman Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. Informational only, things are progressing very well in our downtown area, all working with future Neenah and the bid group. And I just want to share a couple of dates to remember. Thanks to Councilperson Erickson, the Tiny Doors program is going very well, and that is going through the 31st. Thank you. The summer log the loop. All right, that we ask that you please log your miles. You can go to the FNI website for that. May 26th is the start date. The summer concert kickoff series, which will be the Clam Band, will be on June 11th. The gift certificate sales is on the 14th of June, and the farmer market opening day is also June 14th. That concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. The Library Board, Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Neenah Library Board of Trustees met today at 4 p.m. Some highlights: they are ready to kick off their summer reading program. So we are going to be soaring into summer with both an adult and children's reading program. There's a summer reading kickoff, which is on Tuesday, June 10th, from 1:30 to 2:30, and again at from 6 to 7. Adults, children, and families are encouraged to attend. There will be bubbles, music, crafts, and you can personalize your very own Neenah Public Library tote bag at this event, and that kicks it off. So there are a lot of other items that are available. The Repair Cafe Clinic, which is huge right now, is scheduled for Saturday, June 28th from 11 to 3. So if you have something like a computer, a phone, a small appliance, electronics, sewing, mending, jewelry, or watches, bring it on into the library and they'll see what they can do to repair it. So please visit the Neenah Public Library website, and as always, check out some books. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. The next item is the Neenah Arts Council, also Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Neenah Arts Council met last Wednesday, May 14th, and we are kicking off our summer calendar of events. We will be at the Farmers Market, Community Fest, National Night Out, and a variety of other items are in the works right now. So we will be out and about in the community in June at the Farmers Market. That's our first event. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. We appreciate all you do. Next item is the Landmarks Commission. Alderman Weber.
Thank you, Mayor. The Landmarks Commission met on May 14th, and also we held a special meeting just tonight before council. Really, the entirety of our work has been focused on the redo of the historic tours brochure, working with Sean Keeper's design, so making very good progress, and we're targeting to get it done by the 1st of July. Very aggressive, but we'll see if we can get it done. So that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Are there any petitions? No petitions. Are there any council directives?
Mayor?
Alderman Ellis?
Thank you, Mayor. I have two tonight that I'd like to share with the council. And it relates back to when we take a look at local government and in what we do and how we do it from time to time, we need to rethink how we do what we do, how we interact. In all the years that I sat here on the council, when I first got elected, there was one alderman per district, then it went to 2, and now it went to 3. We've added some terrific departments, but all of that being said, from time to time, I think if we would do a what if and take a look to see if there's ways that we could do things better. I'm not saying change anything at this time, but the first of the 2 directives that I would share was something that I read the other day and something that I've thought about myself, and that is spring election, excuse me, versus fall election. And 3rd District Congressman Derek Van Orden has just released a statement earlier in the week. It's his recommendation that Wisconsin take a significant look at, should we continue to have a spring election? They're costly. We know that they're costly. They don't get the voter turnout that you normally do with a state and federal fall election. And he's looking for input and guidance. So from that standpoint, I was thinking that if we could take the next couple of weeks as a collective and think about whether or not we believe that that is worth the city of Neenah sending a message to our elected officials in Madison and saying either we do or no, we don't. And from that directive standpoint, I would ask that we take a couple of weeks and think about that and then have that conversation one way or the other at our next council meeting.
So we would need a motion and a second to then vote on it at the next council meeting.
I would so move.
So motion by Alderman Ellis,
Second?
seconded by Alderman Steiner.
Thank you. Oh, we need to vote on that.
We vote at the next
We
council
voted
meeting.
my second one takes it from a state level down to a local level. And what I'm about to propose to the group is something that some are going to go, oh my gosh. But I take a look at those folks that are sitting around this table tonight, the 9 of us, plus the mayor, plus our department heads. And I believe that the local form of government is the truest form of local government. We're the folks that go home. At the end of the day, we take phone calls, good, bad, or indifferent. We meet with our constituents, or sometimes they come to meet with us. But we always try to outreach to our citizens to let them know that our doors are always open to them. One of the things that I have noticed over the years is that sometimes there are folks that would like to run for a local office, but the person that currently holds that seat has held that seat for many years. I was one of those in the early 80s, and I did have a constituent come to me in the 80s and say, you know, if you ever don't want to run, I think about running. I said, why don't you run? I won't, and I'll support you. And I did, and they did. And I believe that this body, the local body, the city councils, the towns, the villages, those representative, I think we do the best job versus state versus fed in trying to provide open door, open air, sunshine rules and regulations. And there are many good people that have spent many years at a federal, state, and local level that served with pride and have done a very good job. And unfortunately, there's also been some that haven't. And I've noticed that more, not here, but south here and east of here. And it got me thinking that we've all talked about, should there be term limits for elected representatives? And what I've heard across the board is, oh yeah, I want that, I want that. You can talk to anybody you want. Maybe some of you have had that thought. But then the NAMBY factor comes in down in my backyard. I've had that conversation with some of our elected representatives from Washington and from Madison, and they think it's a good idea, but they won't move that needle forward. And so I was kind of hoping that they might be able to send to us a message from up, down, look at what we're doing, you may want to look at this too. And so considering the fact that nobody wanted to take up the gauntlet, I thought nuts to that. I'm going to share a concept with our group. Tonight, I'm not asking that we do term limits for elected representatives, the mayor and the city council. What I'm asking the council to do, and I will put this in the form of a motion, again, that we take 2 weeks and come back at our next meeting, and between now and then, we think about, should we explore what if? Not do it, but what if? It's going to give us time to hear from some of our constituents. It's going to give us time to think about that. And then we would come back in a couple of weeks and say, you know what? It is worth exploring. There are a lot of questions if we take that path. And I understand that. How would it work? I mean, the layers to the onion run deep, all right? And it's always going to have some pain someplace. But in my opinion, I go back to the words that Bobby Kennedy spoke many years ago when he recited from a philosopher, if not now, when? And if not me, who? I believe that this body should take a look at that conversation and have the what if and come back and have a heartfelt conversation. In my opinion, it would be a disservice if we didn't have the conversation. And if at the end of 2 weeks, we come back and we say, no, we think we got it right. Fine, great. But we did something that we haven't seen anybody else do around here. We had the conversation, we had the what if. And I think that we do owe it to our constituents, and I've had conversations with some of you on this, where we've agreed that some folks are afraid to come to City Hall. They're afraid to contact the mayor, their council member, their department head. For whatever reason, they're afraid of what they don't know. I think that we're very accommodating as a group, and I think that our door is open. But I think this is a way that we can say to our constituents, we want to continue to show you that this door is open. We want to hear your input. And if there were a form of term limits, there's a lot of different ways that could play out, but it may be an invitation to invite more folks to come in to this process. So with that being said, and my bloviation part over with, I would make the motion that this body consider whether or not we should explore term limits for our local elected officials and meet back here in 2 weeks at the council and have a vote as to whether or not we should further explore that option, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Ellis, seconded by Alderman Bruno. And we will vote on that at the next council meeting. Are there any additional council directives? Is there any unfinished business? Alderman Erickson.
I don't know if this is unfinished business or this would come under new business. A while back, we had discussed the opportunity to have someone designated to locate and work on grants. And former Alderman Skirms was an advocate of that, and I would like an update on where we are on that. Soliciting grants and finding grants came up at the library board meeting today. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to refresh what's going on with that. Is there a person that's designated? Is that successful? That sort of thing. So I think we should have a discussion.
Sure, we can provide an update on that
Okay,
for you.
thank you.
Is there any other unfinished business or new business? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, we're adjourned.
The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.